You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Strain After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Strain After Show.
Hey there, The Strain fans. How are you? Ooh.
Oh, I think I smell alright.
I like this music choice. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the AfterBuzz TV After Show for The Strain. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 6, Occultation. I'm Matt Lieberman. Joining me, as always, fantastic and talented Misters Zach Wilson.
Hey, guys.
And Stephen Lemieux.
Back from vacation. So excited.
Yes.
Such a great episode.
And I'm back as well. Thank you to you both, and to Jackie, who is not here with us tonight, for holding it down.
Good job, Zach.
You guys just ditched us to do it on our own.
I know.
We were giving you your chance,
Actually,
man.
we had a blast last week. I was just like, oh, they're coming back.
Yeah, I know. We're
Jackie's
spoiled
like,
sports.
I don't even want to be here if they're coming back.
Yeah. We're also joined by a very special guest, Mr. Drew Nelson, who plays Matt on the show. Drew, you with us?
I am. How you guys doing?
We're doing very well. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
You're not gonna try to turn our studio into a game room while you're here, are you?
Yeah, we like our studio the way it is. Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about Matt, right? Like, obviously,
Sure.
as big F fans, we're not going to be huge fans of Matt. But as a Matt myself, I'm trying to empathize with him. He's caught up in this thing. He doesn't want to be the bad guy here.
No, of course not. Of course not. He's just trying to do right by his woman, and just try to do the right thing and come from a good place.
You know, it's tough when you have a show like this because you have to look at it.
Yeah.
You're watching as a viewer, and the way they portray characters, they portray Kelly as this nagging wife. They portray Matt as this intruder upon Ephraim's home and stealing his wife,
and his son.
But when you look at it from like a real world perspective, it's like Matt really hasn't done anything wrong except try to chase down two guys that are probably going to infect him next episode. But we don't know that yet.
Right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We'll leave that up to what happens next episode for sure. But I totally see where you're coming from. I mean, I think it's just an unfortunate circumstance that he's involved in. I mean, he's not out to cut the guy's grass. I mean, he's literally being there when he can't be there, when F can't be there. So he's not doing anything bad,
Yeah, and also...
However, he did call the FBI on him, so that's pretty shitty.
I know, Drew.
Yeah.
Dick move, man. Dick move.
He's not doing anything bad, but I still want to smack him in the face.
For doing it, yeah. Well, I mean, in his mind, right, first of all, this guy's breaking into the house, coming in the back way. The FBI wants him for questioning, and like,
it's his house.
Well, I know, but like,
my house.
Well, and tell me if this kind of rings true with how you approached it, Drew, from an acting standpoint. But when you're coming into the end of a marriage or the end of a relationship, all you're going to hear about the spouse that's on his way out is the negative stuff, because the marriage obviously wasn't working. So this is a guy who was an alcoholic, who was an absentee father and an absentee husband. What is he going to think? Is he really going to give him the benefit of the doubt?
No, of course not. And it's especially that he's coming in and spinning this crazy tale that the world's about to end. It's like I played Matt very much coming from a very practical standpoint, and it's like if some raving lunatic, drunken, absentee father comes in and starts hurling all these crazy accusations at his ex-wife, it's like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Like, let's get real here for a second. And I think that's where my character kind of comes into play.
Well, yeah.
And that's the way I approached him.
So I gotta ask, like, to prepare for this character, did you go and like date a divorcee and like steal the son away from the dad?
Yeah, totally. Just went trolling. No, I drew from personal experience. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, again, I try to bring as much as I can of myself to every character that I play. And I think, I've definitely been in a situation where I was the other guy, involved in a relationship where the girl was on her way out, and I was sort of, the new guy coming in. And so I get drew from that a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, I really approached him from this sort of real human perspective. I mean, like, here's the situation he's involved in, and I think that his intentions were all coming from a good place, and just by virtue of the circumstance, it makes him the bad guy, right?
Right.
But I think a lot of the fans, fans of the show are really seeing they're really kind of empathizing with the Matt character, which is kind of a nice surprise, I thought. Yeah. But when I read the script saying that he snatches a card from the FBI agents and ends up calling him, I mean, they didn't actually keep it in, but there was a moment where we saw Matt, deciding whether he should or shouldn't call the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made a little bit of a difference. But anyway, what have you? What happened, and now, hopefully, I guess people are back to hating Matt again. So,
well, I mean, it felt as a viewer, it felt ambiguous to me. I didn't know that he'd called the FBI until they showed up.
That's great then.
I thought he was just thinking about it. Yeah.
I thought
cool.
I thought it was a little bit cliche and made me hate the character. Because
oh really? Yeah.
I mean, the whole having the card and you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of X-Men 2. When they go back
when the kid's parents call
when the kid's brother calls the cops on his brother because he's a mutant.
Oh, that's my buddy Shawnee Ashmore, actually.
Really?
Oh, you know him?
Yeah.
So there's just a club of people who call the cops on Friends?
What's that?
Well, no, he was Sean Ashmore is Iceman.
Oh,
he's
he is.
Yeah.
So you were actually the one who called the cops on him. I get it. I see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's been a tough point in the friendship.
Yeah. So, can you tell us what's your favorite scene that you got to shoot this season? Is it something that's already happened, or is it something coming up?
Yeah, I mean, that scene between Kelly and I was actually really fun to shoot. Peter did a great job of, really working us, and the way he shot it lent itself to us really sort of going for it, and he really encouraged us to go for it. So I was pretty pleased with the result of that. Peter was just I remember Nikolai calling in, and unfortunately Nikolai and I never got a chance to meet when we did the show.
Yeah, can you confirm or deny the beret and everything else?
No, I totally confirm the beret. He's larger than life, that man. But granted, he knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah,
he's in the position that he's in for a reason, and he fully rocked the beret. He had these tinted blue glasses, it's hard to explain, these old school 70s retro glasses, and he'd have this huge long trench coat on, and yeah, he was a character, man. He was great though. I love working with him.
He's a great director.
No bullshit at all from that guy. He's great. Are we allowed to swear on this, by the way?
A little bit.
A little bit. We try not to drop F-bombs is basically the rule.
no F-bombs.
No F and Nora, no F-bombs.
Yeah. Oh, brother.
Peter was great. He's a great director.
So tell me, how did you get involved with The Strain? Because when you hear about a show like this, I mean, a lot of the hype around it has been Guillermo del Toro's emergence in a TV series. On FX, because FX is one of those networks that is now allowing show creators to kind of do what they really want to do with the series without interfering too much and letting it go dark, grimy, and
well, I mean, I feel like that's been their mandate since The Shield back in 2003. That's who they are.
Yeah, but with a series like this that has been, he's wanted to make it a series for so long, and then he put it in the books, and now he's making a series. What's kind of the vibe on set? Has everyone read the books, or is everyone just really excited about the project? And how did you get involved with the project?
Yeah, well, first off, I mean, I got involved with the project just how I get involved with any other project. I mean, it was just through an audition process, and did the initial audition, and it really felt like it went well. And then I got a call, I guess a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of weeks later, actually, that Guillermo wanted me in person. So I didn't really know what that audition would entail. So I made sure I, knew the material really well and went in. met with him in person with Carlton, and obviously I knew who Carlton was from Lost because I was a huge Lost fan forever. And yeah, met those guys in person, had a great rapport already that was already established in that audition, and had a good feeling about it. And I guess didn't hear anything for a couple days, and then got called back in somewhere at a casting office in Toronto, and they weren't going to be present that time around, but the specific notes were do it exactly how you did it for Guillermo the other day. And so I did exactly that, and I guess that was on a Friday. My birthday was on a Sunday, and I got the call that I got the part on Monday afternoon. So it was, granted, it didn't involve me having to go through chemistry tests with the girl playing with Kelly or anything with Corey's character. So I think with Guillermo, he knows who he likes. He doesn't have to go with the obvious choice, the guy who, you know what I'm saying? The guy who's like hot and up and coming and this and that and is coming off this show and this film. I think he just really chooses the person that's best for the character, because he kind of has that power to do so. And I think, just the ball fell into my court. So it was amazing. And so, that's how I got the part. And yeah, the vibe on set, I mean, we're dealing with masters of their, in their realms. I mean, like Guillermo's a brilliant master at horror and in this dark subject matter, and of course, like Carlton's a master in television, and so it's just like you put all your trust into the creative team, and you're going to get gold. I mean, I think it was kind of a no-brainer. I think when we were shooting in Toronto, it had a certain vibe to it, definitely locally, but I think we were just recently in the premiere in LA for it. And the billboards are everywhere. The hype was everywhere about it, and I think it really dawned on us how big this thing could be. And, and I think people are really starting to latch on now. So we're really grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Drew, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Is there anything else that you're working on that you want people to know about while you're here?
Yeah, it's been busy. I mean, I'm actually developing some projects of my own right now, but I wrapped a film called Man Versus starring Christy Amantopoulos, and that's going to be hitting the festival circuit pretty shortly. So we're really excited about that. And, I got some other stuff, some other irons in the fire. We'll see what pops,
Great. Do you have a Twitter handle people can follow you at?
I do, yeah. You can get me at Drew Nelson Live at Twitter.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, man. I know it's late out there in Toronto, and I just want to say, you do a great job on the show. Your performance really grounds the world of it, and it's a real pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing such a great job. You guys are killing it.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, guys.
Yeah. All right. You know what? If he called the FBI on me, I don't even know that I could be mad at him. He's a very nice guy.
He couldn't call the FBI because he's been on the line with us.
That's true.
That's how it rolls. But you know how you can be on the line with us, too?
Is it through iTunes?
It's through iTunes.
It's through iTunes. Let's talk about iTunes. Folks, we've talked about it on this show before. We talk about it on every show. And for good reason. What is iTunes? It is a program where you can get all kinds of music and movies and also podcasts. It's maybe where you got this podcast from. And, the best way that you can support our show and any other show here on AfterBuzz TV is to go rate and review the show. Now, we had issued a challenge. To the Strain fandom, to the minions of the Master, okay? And we said we wanted 50 reviews, preferably 5-star reviews, which I think all of them were, or it was like
96%.
Yeah, were 5-star reviews by this episode, and I would do a delightful jig for all of you on air. Here, can you refresh it now in the moment and see if we hit it? Because we were at 49.
We are still at 49.
We're still at 49. It's all right. Yeah, well, if we hit 50 by next week, and we better, I'll do a jig then.
Some people say that one vote doesn't count, but we're at 49 out of 50, so that's on you.
That's on you, people.
Whoever's literally looking at the TV right
You
now.
that didn't tune in, and you that didn't give a review, you could have made that man dance.
You could have forced me to dance to any number of songs.
And I guarantee
to Pony
you,
by Genuine.
it would not be good dancing. It'd be entertaining dancing.
It would.
And now that that's out in the world, it will be Pony by Genuine.
But
Now
you know
it'll be
who
Pony by
did
Genuine.
review and leave us a comment?
A bunch of people.
A bunch of people. So let's go ahead and give shout-outs after I refresh this to make it most recent, because I don't want to give double shout-out. Oh, yeah, I kind of do, but
Yeah.
All right, so JBro399, love the panel. I look forward to listening every week. So good, Jewish Drummer. You guys help me get through my Monday mornings. This is the best show podcast. Keep up the great work. Love their insights by Jessica Dennis Sanchez. I like being able to get into somebody else's take on what is happening on my favorite shows. The AfterBuzz panels always bring up good points, and they help me sometimes see things that I didn't when I watched the show. Pina Colada. Love Justified. I think you've actually, she's reviewed our other shows. I'm pretty sure I recognize that name. Shout out to you, Love Justified. Great analysis. Thank you, Kama. You guys are great! Exclamation
Wait,
point.
Love Justified.
Wonderful by All the Way for HK. Great show, funny cast. 5 stars from Hector305. 5 stars now. Say my name, Hector305.
You are Hector305. You are so like drive time radio traffic right now. That's
This is like an
Say Hector
auctioneer.
305.
You have to say his name.
Hector 305, man.
Hector305.
He asked and he shall receive.
There you go.
Now, people, not only do you get a great shout out on the show, it's the best way that you can let us know that we're doing our jobs well, that we're giving you the Strain podcast that you deserve, because you do deserve a great podcast, and it's how we're able to get sponsors which support us, which keeps our lights on and our doors open.
We have one more shout out though.
One more?
I can't see the comment yet, but our very own fan of the show from our other show, Helix.
Oh, really?
Neil Napier has left a comment.
He left a comment?
Another Toronto actor.
Oh, well, fantastic.
Shout out to Neil Napier.
Shout out to Neil Napier. And also shout out to a friend of the show, Hank Otero.
Definitely.
Who does a fantastic recap over at the TV Fanatic. You should go check those out if you're looking for a written recap of the episodes. His is always up right when it airs. So check that out when you're done listening to this. Or even, you know, if you want to look at that Sunday night and then listen to us Monday morning, that may be your routine. But check it out. He's a wonderful guy. He reviews a lot of the same shows that we do.
And he truly cares. I mean, we're all about the fan experience here, so when we meet up with people who are the same way, it's really cool to work together with.
We don't normally plug other people's stuff, but this is a really great guy. And he does good work.
If you're a really good multitasker, you could read his review while listening to ours.
Boomtown.
And imagining punching Zach in the face.
It's true. Wait, what?
Whoa.
No,
The kid or him?
Don't you like to know?
Okay. All right. So we got a lot to cover, not a ton of time. So let's jump in. So we come in. F is on the run from the FBI. Isn't that horrible? But like, you know, you had to know, right, that when you give evidence of you dissecting a person to the FBI, they're going to overreact. And then more evidence of you and a friend chopping off a dude's head.
You know, that was my question, though. I don't know if they even saw the video that he had on his phone, because
They couldn't have.
I don't think they did.
Well, no, he showed it. He showed it
to his guy.
To Everett.
To Everett,
At the
but Everett
CDC.
just like looked down and didn't even. He was just like, "Oh, this guy's delusional." He wouldn't pay attention. The FBI, they were getting him on dragging the body. Those are the only pictures.
It's
they were
just the
looking at.
photos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, his picture's plastered all over the news, and as he comes up to Kelly's house, his former home, he sees the FBI out front. He sneaks around out back, and like for a second, we think he's in the clear, because when the FBI guys leave, they're like, "You think he's in there?" He's like, "Nah, with the boyfriend in the house, there's no way." I'm like, "Yes, great." And then Matt comes in and ruins everything. F sweeps in, he grabs young Zach, who's so happy to see him. Oh, Zach.
Get out.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yeah. Go to Vermont. You know, go to your sisters in Vermont. It's the end of the world.
Is it bad that it reminded me of South Park? Stan, run, Stan.
It's not bad at all. I love that.
They're coming.
Yeah. But the FBI, they've got him. And this FBI agent is such a dick, man. He is just terrible. He's like, "Listen, I don't care about whatever education you have. You're some fancy doctor. You touch my watch, I'll slap you across the face."
But at the same time, come on,
This
Nat.
is a freestyle.
Somebody walks up to you. They're just a random CDC guy who was seen dragging a dead body on a camera.
high-ranking CDC
Who was
guy.
seen dragging a dead body on
Right.
camera, and he's trying to tell you this big vampire story. Like, and I shout out to last week. I watched the episode this morning, and yeah, they said vampire for the first time in the series. I like that.
Yeah, the way you have to, with any of these shows, you have to, somebody eventually has to be like, Oh,
is
yeah,
this
It has the
right?
laugh at itself.
No, we don't call it that. We call it strigoi. That is what they are. Now.
Strigoi. It sounds like a
Strigoi.
pasta. I want to have an order of strigoi.
I would
with
like
tomato
a
sauce.
strigoi with the bolognese sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. But in any case, these guys, not only do they not believe him, they're just treating him like garbage. Until F gets the bright idea to be like, okay, I know where the bodies are.
I know where they are.
I know where the bodies are.
I'm willing to make a deal.
But I have to show you where they are.
Classic serial killer move.
Well, I mean, he intends to lead them into a trap and basically get them.
Oh, I didn't take it as that. I figured he was like, look, I'm going to take you somewhere where you can see this
for yourself.
with your own eyes.
But he is putting them in danger.
Well, because either he does that or he just sits there in jail.
It's true.
For 6 months.
I mean, I don't think he knew the eclipse was going to be like a big. Well, I guess he did.
The eclipse is making everyone crazy. I mean, at the top of this episode, we're just out in space listening to the panic that's going on in the city. Everyone's freaking out about this
It could be
eclipse.
the end of the world as we know it.
Yeah, because cell phones aren't working. We need our cell phones.
I haven't checked Facebook in 2 days,
It's
guys.
the end of the world.
That
My
one
phone
dude-
says I have 35 notifications. I can't see them.
That one dude found a payphone.
Yeah, the last payphone in existence.
Still had like a hard copy
Of the yellow
yeah, the Yellow
pages
Pages.
attached via
Which is
chain.
just, what is it with people in movies and TV where they find the book of Yellow Pages and just rip shit out of it?
Well, I mean,
apologize.
granted, it's an intense situation. She's not worried about that
Yeah,
right
but
now.
what about the next person that has to track down Satrakian?
Or just find a pawn shop. Well, they'll have to find another payphone. They'll be looking for the rest of their life. I'm trying to call pawn shops, but there's no yellow page for that.
Yeah, okay.
So, F's in the back of this FBI vehicle, and there's just crazy traffic during the eclipse. And Bennett, who got killed weeks ago, and we hadn't seen in a while, is just running through the streets. Well, I mean, for us.
Okay.
He's still running around in the same clothes he died in, and he's just kind of like, that's the medical examiner. What missing? Look, this is empirical evidence. Look how bloody and pale he is. And they're like, oh, it's just some drunk homeless guy being a weirdo, blah.
It's just a drunk guy covered in blood walking down between the cars.
Not our jurisdiction. That's homeless squad. And until he attacks a
They're
woman.
the ones with the nightsticks.
Yeah, until he attacks a woman, and then, you know, I want to say like good FBI agent, but just like not shitty FBI agent gets out and is like, I'm gonna help her, and the crappy one is just like, you be quiet, I don't care, it's stupid. And then only when his partner is being attacked, he's like, hey, no one touches my partner except me, slap. And then he gets the kiss of death from Bennett. F kind of, you know, barrels out of the car. He goes over to him, and the guy's like, help me, do something. And F already knows this guy's doomed. And I feel like, you know, F had a big moment a couple episodes ago when he finally saw these things in the flesh and kind of had to accept what they were.
I mean, you're dead if you get...
right.
Yeah, I mean,
but this is that, like, episode 1 of Walking Dead when he shoots the zombie for the first time. This is the moment where F realizes there's going to be a lot of people that he's going to have to leave behind. That he's just like, there's nothing I can do for you.
Oh, in
I'm
that
sorry.
sense. Okay, yeah.
Right. There's this moment where his definition of what humanity means and what it's going to be from now on changes. Do you know what I mean? Like the moment that you can't take back, where you can't even waste the time necessary to explain to this person what's about to happen or to put them out of their misery. You just have to take the keys and go. And it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to deal with, and you saw that with Nora.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that with Nora last episode when she was realizing the grand scale of things and how she doesn't want to deal with it because they're people. And what I really like, I really hate Nora's mom thing, all that crap.
You don't like the subplot?
It's just,
I mean, it's a downer. I do like the idea of her hanging around in Satrakian's pawn shop with the dangerous vampiric heart that she's totally going to try to clean and get a bloodworm in her.
No, I thought her mom is too much of an actress, if that makes sense. Like, it takes me out of
You feel like she's playing a part instead of just real.
being, yeah. And but what I do like is I like the background of her mom for the reason of it makes her decision to not want to kill people with the disease, it makes sense. Because her mom has an uncurable disease.
Has dementia. It's never going to go away.
Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Yeah. But it makes sense that she doesn't want to kill somebody because she wants to hold on the hope that there is a cure for every disease because of her mom. So having that, when she first was like, I can't kill people, it was annoying because she's seen the insides of them. She's seen that they're not people anymore.
Right.
But seeing what her mom's going through, it actually makes her character, it makes sense.
It's good writing. It humanizes her, and it gives her a reason why she went down her career path at all, why she works for the CDC, why she's trying to cure people and all these diseases. She always has to hold out hope that there can be a better life for these people. How do you feel about it, Zach?
I mean, I like the Alzheimer's storyline. It's like that's something that's touched my family a little bit, and it's always really tough. And I think putting her in that line of fire situation is just going to complicate everything for Nora. It's going to make her. She's not going to want to like leave for very long, like because she's going to be worried about her mom. She's going to hesitate. I think. That'll come up again.
Right.
She's going to hesitate.
It raises her collective stakes because until we've met her mother, we only knew her in relation to F, which is which is not good. You know, for any character, they should be able to stand on their own two legs. So she's got people that she needs to take care of, and the fact is, her mother is not safe anywhere, anywhere else. If the Strigoi can get right into the hospital, they can get anywhere. She has to keep her
right into
safe.
The rodent pest control place.
100%. Well, let's get into it. So Nora and her mother, they evade the FBI. They get to Satrakians. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But let's jump in and talk about Fett or Vasily. Is Fett his last name or is that his nickname?
His last name is Vasily Fett.
Okay, Vasily Fett. So he's hanging out at a cafe, kind of like shaken by his experience last episode, and two other pest control guys. I guess it's just like a lunch counter where the pest control guys hang out. It's a local pest control, like there's a cop bar, there's a pest control lunch counter. These two guys are like, yeah, man, these munchers, they're everywhere. I don't get it. And he's like, they've been driven out. It's a mass excursion.
There is lots of evil out there.
Yeah. I've seen Devil himself, and I love Kevin Durand on this show. Like I've always liked him as an actor. He's always been like a very dynamic presence, and of course he's worked with Carlton Cuse before on Lost, but we've never seen him play a hero, and he's so charismatic and likable.
Well, he's like the demi-hero. He's the like neutral, like the. What's that Dungeons and Dragons term?
Good neutral
or evil.
Chaotic
okay,
good. He's the chaotic good.
Oh, okay.
But I still, like, every time, like, it really brings you into the role when he, like, has his lip up with his teeth showing. Like, every time, I'm just like, it's just a tick that he does that makes the character seem real and brings him to that, like, rat status. And we learn a lot of his history in this episode.
Yeah. Well, he's somebody who turned away from a life of academia. We still don't know entirely for what reasons.
Architecture.
To hunt rats for a living. And he was basically had to cut himself off from his parents in the process because they were so ashamed with what he's doing.
Well, I think we kind of get a little bit of a tidbit of why, and it's the contempt he kind of shows when he talks to his father. He's like, oh, still doing the mad genius thing, where his father's been working for years and years and years on this book to get published in Odessa, and his father's an architect. So it's kind of he would rather follow in his own footsteps than follow in his father's footsteps. But
to be an intellectual doesn't mean that you're following in your father's footsteps if you're studying something else. But I think what it says about him is he's not interested in the theoretical, and he's not interested in writing a book about something. He's trying to help people here and now. If I catch a rat, that is one rat that cannot bite a person. He's somebody who's very, very practical and wants to accomplish something in the moment. That's how he achieves satisfaction, even if it means he has to go down into the sewers to do it.
How do you like the juxtaposition of the two varying aspects of love? Because in the first episode of the season, the pilot begins with this monologue about how love brings us together, and love is what is going to bring the disease to your families. When you have the people who are dead, who get up and they go back to what they know, so they go to their houses and they go to the people they love. But then you have the people who are not affected, who become knowledgeable of the infection, who immediately go back to the people they love to warn them, but at the same time, all they can do is say they tried.
Yeah, it's the truth. You know, and Vasily, he goes back to his office, and he's like, "Did you hear about the fire? The one that Satrakian set. We'll get into that in a second." And the whole office is empty. And one of the things that really amazes me about the pace that has been set by this show so far is I did not expect it to dramatically touch everyone's lives so immediately. That's like the big thing for me. They're really letting the world, or at least letting Manhattan, go to shit. Like, immediately. To the point where it's not like we're doing this secret thing, trying to kill these people and working our way down a list. Oh no, we're in the middle of a freaking pandemic that is taking over this city, and we have mere days before, like, a sizable portion of the population has been wiped out.
But all communication has been basically halted.
Yeah.
So nobody can really communicate aside from like some few radio signals of attacks, but then people don't have details, and that's it.
Well, you think about, like, you know, that eclipse. It was very, very brief, but you have all the Strigoi that have been born or turned in the days since the plane. All of them are able to come out on the street at once while people are still there. And if all of them even affected, you know, 2, or say all of them affected 5 people, that's a 500% increase.
And here's a question.
More. My math is probably really screwed there.
Well,
actually.
how long does it take to be turned officially? Like, after you're bitten, if you don't die, it doesn't seem
it is
like
fivefold.
It doesn't seem very long before, like, because the people in the office couldn't have been there for too long before.
They were still in like the first stages, though.
But that's long enough to attack and to theoretically infect somebody else.
True. It's like, so maybe hours.
Give
maybe.
them, what is an eclipse? 20 minutes? That they can be on the street?
Yeah, like 20 minutes is maybe the longest. But I feel like they had been hit before the eclipse. The office maybe had somehow.
The office definitely before the eclipse, but I'm saying, like, just using them as an example, you're talking about going up fourfold, fivefold, like 20 minutes. If they can be turned that quickly, if it only takes 10 minutes, then those people can then infect more.
Oh wow! So yeah, then it would just be exponential during the eclipse.
Effect.
But you got to also think, I mean, if it's...
There are probably some of them that got killed as the eclipse ended because they weren't smart enough or they weren't developed enough yet to get underground.
Well, like the FBI people, if they were infected, they'd be laying out in the sun when they turn. So I don't think that's one thing. But I think, I don't know, it's interesting because you always, when Satrakian went down into the basement, you see how there's like, they're hanging around with one person who's like half turned. So they probably dragged the people down there and just let them turn. And even when they went to, in last episode, when we went to, I can't remember his name, Ansel Barber, the other guy was still alive too. Ansel didn't rip him apart, he didn't kill him, he let him turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they probably are taking the people and they probably dragged them down. What I didn't see this episode, what I'm looking forward to seeing, which I don't know if they're going to do it, I really hope they will, is the subways. The subways are going to be, it has a great opportunity for something really diabolically.
I was really worried about Nora and her mother because they took the subway.
I was like, what's going to happen on the subway? And then they got there okay, apparently.
Yeah.
But, like, I can't wait to just see, like, a train stop at a train station and just have everything rush out.
It's also just being in a city. This is like mythological creature invasion 101. New York City
is an island.
It's the worst place to be because it's an island and it's just people everywhere. There's no avoiding mass amounts of people. So if you have something that's just the sort of disease that you bite and then it spreads and then they bite again and then that person bites,
one worm's
the
all
whole
it
city
takes.
is going to be. It just makes me think of the book of World War Z. They really go into that, like how Manhattan is just the most dangerous place in America.
And how Brad Pitt needs a scarf in every scene.
Yes. So Fett, he goes into the office and he realizes something's very, very wrong. And one of the other guys, I guess his boss, has been turned, and he hits him with the light. And we really, for the first time, get to see what prolonged sunlight does to one of these guys.
Took about 15 seconds.
Yeah. About 15 seconds. They don't burn all the way through, but they're dead. And then the girl I was shipping,
she's got a daughter.
Girl, and she's got a daughter, and they liked each other so much. And I feel like he was only days away from asking her out finally. And the pain in his face as he realizes he has that moment too, where it's like, and he hits the blinds.
And it's showing us the people who know that they'll do what needs to be done. And I feel like the first 6 episodes are gathering the A team, and the next episode, da 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 da, Durand, da 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 da, Ephraim, Nora.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't know if they're gonna hook up. I hope they hook up soon, because like Vasily just needs to go kick some butt.
Well, then bringing not Crispin, Felix and Tufo and Felix.
Well, Gus. Yeah. Well, poor Felix. He's got a bloodworm in him now.
I know, that was so quick.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's the problem, right? So let's talk about them. Because we talked about Vasily and his dad a bit and how heartbreaking it was. He told his parents to get out of town. So Gus thought he was out. He thought he was out scot-free. He thought he was free and clear.
You broke the rules. You broke the rules. We're going to keep you.
We are going to keep you. You cannot break the rules. You examine the package.
I throw you against the wall. You broke the rules.
You must read the fine print, or this deal is forfeit.
Your accent is
terrible.
I am a Nazi vampire. Nazi zombie is too cliche. We are Nazi vampires.
Nazi vampire. So, before we even get into guys, we get this opening scene with Ike Horst that's so disturbing. He's got this secret feed chamber, and he comes in, you know, like full flaring bat nostrils and everything. He's got this dude chained up, and he's just cranking and cranking and cranking. The good guy's like, please just kill me. He's like, I am killing you, but I need a few more feeds before the world changes.
Fairly slowly.
This is another interesting little like just factoid about their like biology, where because he's an intelligent one, he can it seems like he can decide to turn or not to turn.
Yeah, he can control whether or not he transfers bloodworms as he's sucking blood out. I think that's the thing.
Yeah,
is like until you've been a Strigoi long enough. Like, he's been a Strigoi since the 1940s, I would assume.
Yeah.
If not even earlier.
Are there more than one master, though?
I think there's only one master.
Okay.
I think there's one master, and the master was in Germany in the 1940s during the Holocaust. Ike Horst was outside in the sun in the scenes that we saw, the flashback scenes last week or the week before. So, theoretically, he was not a Strigoi in the scenes that we've seen, and he's about to be turned into one. And he has now been a Strigoi for potentially 70 years.
So here's my wild biology theory on this something. What if the Strigoi, as we know them, like the big guys, what if they are, I think we talked about this a little bit, that they are just a worm like vessel. So what if it's the job of all the different little worms to just build up and help one worm become the tongue thing and get strong enough, and then once it's strong enough to control the body, to do to be intelligent, the other ones just go away, so that they
die off
or become like controlled organism the way that the master controls.
So, like, each big worm is like a master to its own little worms.
Yeah, or maybe if then that, like, goes on long enough, they get to have, like, their own, like, little
kind of
army.
like the way that the master has control over all of the Strigoi, you're saying that a lead worm inside a host body, all the other worms are slave to that one worm.
Possibly, if they are a Strigoi. As long as Ike Horst is.
Kind of like a bloodworm pyramid scheme. You've got all these bloodworms at the bottom, and they're working their way up to be head bloodworm of a body, and those bloodworms which own the bodies are then slave to the master.
Exactly.
In fact, 10 humans, you get 5 more. We'll pay you.
Exactly.
But then Ike Horst theoretically could then evolve to master level if he's there long enough. If maybe our master,
or if he eats enough
Dracula,
like royal jelly, essentially.
I would agree with you, except for the fact that Ike Horst remembers everything from the Nazi camp, obviously.
Right.
So it's just kind of like he would have turned into a thrall, then had to evolve up his way to be able to remember his memories.
Well, it could be the same way. I mean, when you're a kid, you still have intelligence, and you have to like grow into it. If we treat them I think I've talked about this before. You treat memories as a biological thing because it's just the brain as an organ. If it's still up there, once he grows up to a point where he's then
it reconnects those synapses.
Yep, and then that would also affect his personality because those memories are a part of him.
You know what it probably is if they stay alive while they're turned. If they stay alive while they're turned, they're like the survivors from the plane, and they become like Ikehurst. They become like Ikehurst.
Yeah, they aren't right now yet. Like
because they're still metamorphosizing.
Right.
Bolivar's not yet, but Bolivar still has intelligence. Like he wasn't like completely
He let that urologist
mind. He was vocal.
He was vocal, which is different than any of the other ones.
That's very true. That's very important to point out.
We can go probably about 10 more minutes.
Okay. So then, Gus thought he was out. Guy with a gun shows up. He's like, Mr. Eichhorst wants to see you. He's like, all right, man, don't pull your piece. I'll go meet with him. He brings Felix with him down into the tunnels. Eichhorst is creepy. Gus is like, listen, man, I'm done. Eichhorst is like, no, you're not. You're going to meet this man. He's going to take you. You're going to dispose of a body for me.
I will give you $800.
Yes, I'll give you $800.
More like 200 euros.
And your mother will not be deported. And so Gus finally tries to throw a punch, and he gets some of that makeup off.
My Lancome.
And he's like, what are you? Bunch of like punches to the stomach, wham, 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 wham. Nothing. So then Eichhorst grabs his fist, cracks his bones, and then throws him like he's paper. And then Felix tries to pull a piece, shoots, disappears, reappears. And I thought for a second he was going to
he phased through the bars.
Right. And I thought he was going to blow Felix's face off. I thought he was going to have him shoot himself.
Hashtag Tufo, man.
In any case, they escape and they meet up with Jim, who's still under Eichhorst's sway. Even though he had told F the truth, he's still doing Eichhorst's dirty work to help his wife out.
Stay close to your enemies, though. I mean,
I know, but
that and just like with Gus, like as much as you might want to get away from this, like you're in that situation because he gave you something that either you needed or threatened you with something you desperately didn't want.
So they're disposing of, I assume, of Captain Redfern's body.
Yeah.
And in the process, Gus and Felix find out that this is definitely not human. Jim is like, you shouldn't have seen that, and they dump it in anyway. Gus and Felix are walking down the street during the eclipse, and they get attacked. Gus bashes the Stragoy's head in, releasing some blood and some blood worms, one of which gets into Felix's hand just in enough time for the police to arrest them both for being Latin men in their 20s.
No, they're pulling the worm out of his hand.
They did beat a guy to death.
His head
fine.
To the police's knowledge.
Okay, fine.
And so it was Bennett, right?
Yeah, it was Bennett.
It was Bennett, yeah. So just enough time to have them land in a jail cell and have Felix turn in the jail cell, which is probably what's going to happen next week.
It's going to be like Dark Knight. Like,
yeah.
I have the happy colors inside. They're made of worms.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I need to revisit that movie.
He said he could take all the bad things away and put worms inside.
Yeah, all right, we got to move on. So, Satrakian, he had split up with F last episode, and he's like, you do your thing, I'm going to do mine.
This was scary.
Yeah, he goes to the next house on the list, and we get a reminder of how old he is, because he's at least in his 80s. He is an old man. He is infirm. And he goes down into the basement expecting maybe one, maybe two. He's got his nail gun with silver nails. He's got his sword. He immediately dispatches of one guy, and then he realizes just how many folks are down there. And I think he kind of has like a heart tremor.
Well, the interesting thing is how they lead you into this scene is that like you keep hearing bomb. Bomb, like the music, and I noticed it at first. I was like, "Oh, that's cool," like kind of like a heart. And as it speeds up, and he's having the thing, you're like, "Oh, damn!"
Yeah,
like,
he's having heart palpitations. So he goes to get his medication. He
Butterfingers.
He drops all of his medication. He realizes I'm in big trouble here. I need to get out. So he has to blast his way out of there with nails, and it's pretty badass. And he barely gets out of that basement alive, and the sunlight is the only thing that keeps them at bay, and he's just exhausted. And he lights a candle, and he turns on all the gas burners, so he's obviously trying to start an explosion, tries to start a fire, and burn them out. Which honestly, you should have just done. In the first place.
I wish they had a scene where he's like walking away from the house in slow motion and the house explodes.
Well,
but you don't want to leave that much evidence. People are going to see you leaving.
Yeah. Right.
He's got that distinctive cane.
Right. It's true. And, you know, I think it's the moment that Satrakian realizes, you know, not only do I want these people on my side, I need them on my side because I am no longer in the shape necessary to fight these
So
things.
much so that he'd enlist the taxi driver if he'd listened to him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He was trying to make the taxi driver into his new F because he thought F was doomed and that he was going to be in FBI custody. He gets back to the pawn shop and F arrives and he's like, I'm ready to talk. He's like, good. Nora's down there. They embrace. We have to quickly just mention the scene where Kelly's friend, who's played by the woman who plays Angela DeAngelis on Orphan Black, is like, don't forget his spicy side dish at work. So we do know that Kelly did know about his affair. That's
Kelly
the first
knows about
confirmation.
Nora.
That character only exists to drink and mouth off about F.
She's the worst. Yeah. So Satrakian says, all right, good, you two are finally ready. Great, because I got a plan. Credits. Yeah.
I got a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom. You better shape up.
No. All right. Let's do predictions.
And now,
boy.
your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Now, I didn't see the scenes from next
didn't
week. Zach
I
did.
could drink you now. That was the big quote takeaway.
Okay, well, maybe we shouldn't talk about them other than that, just for like people who think that they're spoilers.
We didn't see Lawyer this episode.
Lawyer?
Her kids was her kids last episode.
Oh, Joanne Luss.
Joanne
Yeah.
Luss.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we jump in with some of the other survivors, either her or Bolivar next week.
Yeah.
Could be a thing. I also, you know, like, I'm very curious about what this plan is and how they're going to be active. There are way more Strigoi on the streets now than there were at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's out now, right? Like,
Yeah,
the news
people
is
have
out.
to know.
It's not an underground movement anymore. I mean, it's an underground fighting movement.
Right.
But
And they are technically underground right now
Yes.
because it's
All right.
daytime.
yes.
I'm looking forward to a lot of I Am Legend-esque scenes and like
A lot of
scenery.
devastation.
Well, like the devastation and just the whole scene where he goes into the building and everything's dark in the building, and you put a flashlight and you just see him. And it really reminded me of that when he was when Kevin Durand was in the sewers last episode, and especially even when Satrakian was in the basement this episode, and you see them. I'm really kind of liking this old school, like dark creatures lie in the dark. Cinematography and how they're doing it. So I'm looking forward to it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see a subway scene. I really
Yeah.
want them to bring the subway into this. And Satrakian says you have to cut their head off and burn them, but they obviously just dumped one full of bloodworms into
the water.
Supply.
Idiots.
Idiots.
They're either going to completely ignore that and have it be like he's nothing.
But that's the thing is, like, you know, Ichorus probably told them to dump it in the water on purpose. But then again, the bag is sealed up. It is sealed.
Yeah, but those
He
worms
unzipped it
could
and
get
zipped
through.
it out.
They could bite it. They could bite
I
their
think
way
they
through.
could get through
right.
if
Yeah.
they can survive underwater.
Which we don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know if they can be drowned. So it's all important
But
to
they
think
have
about.
to get him over the river, so you don't know
Yeah.
about water.
Oh yeah, water could very well be.
Some kind of barrier. I mean, it could be you hear with like satanic rituals and all that, or like magic spells. Like the circle is very important. Manhattan is surrounded by water. It's an island, so maybe
Very
that has an
interesting.
effect on it. Maybe it needs that like circle to thrive. I'm wondering. I'm seeing. We're gonna get a lot of like during the day. That's everyone's moment to recollect because they can't come out in the daylight. So that's their time to like go out on hunting parties, like patrol the streets, do what they can,
Do some raids, take
and then-
care of people.
and then at night it just becomes all
Chaos.
mayhem. This
Yeah.
city that sleeps during the day, sort of.
Cool. All right, folks. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back next week with an all-new episode, and Jackie should be back joining us as well. Zach, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson, ThatZachWilson, and also here at AfterBuzz on The Leftovers and MasterChef with Mr. Lemieux over here.
Yes.
And you guys can find me tomorrow night at 9 p.m. on MasterChef with Mr. Zach Wilson over here, and on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StPhenLemieux, as well as doing Graceland on Wednesdays and Yeah, doing the strain. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a great first season. And folks, you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can find all my videos for SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd on YouTube. I also did a bunch of videos with their sister channels, Discovery's D News, Anywho, and TestTube this past week. You can check some of those out. Yeah, I'm here.
Shout out to Drew Nelson too.
Yeah, shout out to Drew Nelson. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And you can find me on the Under the Dome show, on Ray Donovan, and on Defiance right now. Oh, and The Nick on Cinemax, a great new show from Steven Soderbergh. Check that out. And Doctor Who starting again next week. Stay tuned for that. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bite you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.